Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. I'm your mayor, Chewy Plays Nintendo, joined by my co-mayor, Sergio. Today, we will give our thoughts on Nintendo's recent Smash Direct, and we'll talk about my recent video on 5 features that I want back from Animal Crossing population growing. Hi Sergio, how you doing?
Hello, Chewy. Just way more excited for Smash. How about you?
Yeah, same. I'd say, I think seeing the E3 thing, it was more of a bummer than it should have been. I don't know. It's weird because, it's Smash. It's a big deal. It's a big game. A lot of people are, of course, very excited for it. But I think for the most part, just people who are pretty strictly Smash fans were the most excited after E3. Because that's what they're there for, right? They're there for Smash, and they got a lot of Smash. I think I liked this presentation better just because it was a direct. We knew it was what we were getting. And then, I don't know, just the E3 setup itself is you're getting the big announcements during the video or whatever. And then you're going to get a showcase of whatever games they're showing,
Yes.
But I felt like they did too much of the showcase portion during E3's presentation, And so at that point, I was just like, how long is this going to go? There's some very, specific details you're giving me here about the characters and how you've changed them. I don't know I don't know if this is the big news, or I don't know. It just seemed like a weird setup for what they were presenting,
Right. And we were there, a lot of us were there for other reasons, other games, other series that we wanted to see. And the funny part, or part of the funny part, is that we already knew that Smash was coming. So there really wasn't a need for that much detail at that time, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's the weird thing about it too. Going into E3, we knew a lot of the stuff that they announced was on its way. The big surprise, I think, was surprisingly, the surprise was Super Mario Party. Because that was something completely new, something we hadn't heard. But at that point, the other big Nintendo things were Smash, which we knew was coming. Luckily, we only got a teaser to it, so we knew nothing about it, right?
Right.
So that helped. And then the other thing was Pokemon. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Those two, I don't know, they should have saved those two for that.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess let's skip over E3 and let's talk about this Smash Direct, because like you, I was also more excited for the game after seeing this. I guess, what did you think of the Direct?
Oh, I thought it was really awesome. I love the way they handled everything and all of the announcements that we got. Honestly, I went in with very little expectations. Part of it was because Sakurai told us, this is the Smash Brothers Ultimate. The focus is to bring everything back into the series, so don't expect a lot of new content. And that's what they said, and I kind of believed him. But in this direct alone, we got 5 new characters. So they just, I guess they cannot help themselves. They keep adding things to the series, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's also a really good way to handle it. Let's just lower everybody's expectations. Because at this point, he knows that we know who he is. And we know that he's pretty, I guess, I don't know, he's pretty open about how much work goes into making a Smash game,
Right.
And so him saying something yeah, we worked really hard to bring you all these characters. Unfortunately, that means because everybody's in this game and that's already 60 some characters, we're not going to be able to add too many more on top of that. And everybody's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then all of a sudden it's just here's 5 new characters. Which I kind of wish, I guess that was what was great about it for me, because I think during E3, I specifically left that and was like, okay, so what do we have? We have Daisy, Inkling, which we kind of already knew was coming, and then Ridley. Were there any other new characters announced?
No, I
During
don't
the
believe
E3?
so. No, just the fact that everyone was back.
Yeah, so everyone was back, plus Daisy, Ridley, and Inkling.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I left that and I was just like, man, I think the exciting thing about Smash for me was always like, who else could possibly be in it? Like, what new character is gonna be in it? And I think we're at that point where we're seeing like, there's not too many other characters to add at this point. Like,
Right.
it truly is celebrating a lot of different franchises and a lot of different games, you know? Um, so, yeah, I guess you want to keep going about your thoughts about the direct.
Sure. We got actually I like the fact that we got a lot of nowadays we have a lot of villain characters now. So it's not, just the heroes, the good guys. We have Dark Samus. We got the announcement of that King K. Rool is finally back. He was heavily requested, almost as much as Ridley, which is another villain type character. So I like that. I like the fact that there's more balance, between good and evil.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's really cool. Um, Yeah, especially like King K. Rool. I guess my experience of King K. Rool, because I haven't played like too many Donkey Kong games, at least like the older ones. I'd say I
Hmm.
played a lot of DK64, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I am okay with it.
Hmm.
Mostly because I don't know. I guess I had fun with like the Rareware platforming games at that time. So for me, it was fun and it was pretty hard and demanding, but
Yes.
and I think that's what kind of turned people off to it. But I'm like, look back at Banjo Kazooie. You need like I think something like 94 out of 100 jiggies to beat that game,
Right.
and that's an A right there. Like you need to get an A grade or better to beat this game, which is pretty demanding.
Yes.
So I think DK64 just kind of followed that. It followed how Rareware made games at that point in time, where it was like, yeah, we want you to play this for a long time and
Right.
be frustrated for a long time because you can't get all these things. But yeah, I think I was pretty hyped about all of that. That cutscene was cool. Um, yeah, I guess I used to not be a huge Donkey Kong fan, but I like him more and more, especially in recent years.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I agree with you. I liked Donkey Kong 64 a lot. I think, those type of games, they offer a lot of content because they know it's good. Like you said, it's challenging, but nope, I cannot think of a part of the game that was boring. It's just more fun, and every different area and world kept adding different elements. That really goes for all of Rare's games. I think that's good, and they're bringing that to Smash Brothers. I think that's awesome, and we also got Crom, which is from Fire Emblem, and it's yet another Fire Emblem character. It's a good series. I'm glad that it's popular now, but a friend and I were talking and we were discussing how, in Fire Emblem there's characters that use lances and axes and you wouldn't know that from Smash because everyone in Smash uses swords. So it
yeah,
would be
they
nice if they could change it up a little.
yeah, and that's the tough part. I think Fire Emblem fans, like there are so many characters to choose from in Fire Emblem. It's crazy
Hmm.
how many different characters there are. And, everybody's got their different favorite game in that franchise. So it's tough to I've always said like I don't mind that they're adding so many Fire Emblem characters. In fact, I'd be totally cool with them making a Smash that's all Fire Emblem characters.
Oh.
Um, it would be hilarious. I think. I don't know. I'd have fun with it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because that's one of my favorite games right there. I love Fire Emblem. I think what's funny about this is Crom specifically. I was part of the minority that wanted Lucina over Crom.
Oh,
And so when that first announcement happened for Smash 4 where Lucina was added instead of
yes.
Crom, I was like, yes, this is what I wanted. I don't want Crom as much as I want Lucina. And even now, like Crom, I still think is they're all right. I didn't really he's one of those units like you have to use.
Okay.
Even like my own unit in Fire Emblem Awakening, I didn't really care for.
Oh.
Um, yeah, which is weird because I'm like, oh, that's me. Um, but yeah, so I didn't really care for like my main units. I really liked a lot of the different characters in that
Hmm.
game.
Right, right.
Um, so I was stoked to see Lucina at first, but it seems like a lot of people wanted Crom over Lucina, and I was like, yeah, whatever. You can have that. Fine, that's fine. um, yeah, but yeah, I'm stoked about more villains being in the game. I guess I don't play. I'm trying to think of all the characters I play as in Smash.
Hmm.
For me, I like Peach. I like Ike a lot, and it's funny because Ike is actually like one of the main Fire Emblem characters in Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn.
Right.
He's so great. He got 2 games. But I really did like Ike in those 2 games. So Ike has always been a fun character in Smash for me. Outside of that, I played Villager a lot and Wii Fit Trainer. I play a lot of weird
Oh.
characters. um, I guess Villager would be normal for you and I to play just because we're Animal Crossing fans.
Right.
But now I don't feel the same about Villager because you mentioned how you wanted Villager to, look like your own villager in your
Yes.
game. And I'm
Right.
like, that sounds great. I just want to be able to scan in my Villager amiibo and save my look on my
Yeah.
amiibo and then scan that into Smash and be like, oh yeah, now it's me
Yeah.
playing this game. That would be the greatest.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be so awesome, and I was really hoping for that again on this one, but I mean it's not entirely off the table. There's always DLC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just hoping because I guess we'll get into this because this is the Animal Crossing podcast,
Right.
and we've been talking about Smash. I think the big thing that we saw that was Animal Crossing related was that Kapp'n is now in the game
Yes.
as an assist trophy. And so Kapp'n, let's give a little history behind Kapp'n. I know I didn't write this down, but I think I remember his history enough to go over it. Essentially, in the first game, Animal Crossing population growing, when you would plug in a Game Boy Advance to
Mhm.
your GameCube, I was gonna say a GameCube to your GameCube. That's incorrect. But yeah, you plug in a Game Boy Advance to your GameCube. It would call Kapp'n over to the dock in your town, and then he would give you a ride to an island. And so that was when you first met Kapp'n. He was just a guy on a boat,
Oh.
and he would take you over to an island, right?
Right.
Um, he got a bit of an upgrade in the next game, but also kind of a downgrade because you don't see him as much
That's right.
after.
That's right.
But in Wild World, he's actually the first character you meet. Instead of meeting Rover in your town or on a train, you're instead being driven in a taxi by Kapp'n, and he drops you off right in front of the town hall.
Mhm.
And the one thing about this scene is I always kind of want to see what route Kapp'n takes to leave your
Oh,
town
that's right.
because there are no roads. Like he's just off-roading through your town. um, so I would love to see that. But anyways, he drops you off in a taxi. I believe is that the Kapp'n that they use for the Animal Crossing movie?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think the main character in the Animal Crossing movie is dropped off by taxi.
Mhm.
Great, I love that. Because I think the movie did come out during like Wild World,
Yes. Mhm.
which used to be the height of Animal Crossing. Up until recently, Wild World was the
Mm.
best-selling Animal Crossing game of all time.
Yes.
Now it is, of course, New Leaf. A lot of people bought the new 2DS with New Leaf installed, so that bumped its numbers right up. Because Nintendo's counting those sales.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Mhm.
So, anyways, so yeah, Kapp'n in the movie is an iteration of Wild World Kapp'n. the next Kapp'n we saw was in City Folk, and this seems to be the game that they're taking all of their Animal Crossing inspiration from. At least Smash is, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so Kapp'n in City Folk drives a bus this time around. And, I haven't started a City Folk file in a while, but do you start in Kapp'n's bus, or is it a different screen
No,
where
I
you
believe
set
you do.
up?
Yes.
Okay, so you start in Kapp'n's bus for this one, and then you keep running into Kapp'n in this one because you can take that bus to the city.
Yes.
And um, yeah, you just have little conversations with Kapp'n. He gives you some tips to how to handle the city life whenever you go and visit, um, he's a wise old man. He
Yes.
knows how to live. um, but yeah, so you run into him quite a bit. But in Super Smash Bros., of course, you see this city folk iteration of Kapp'n where he drives up in a bus, picks somebody up, and drives them on over to Haken, and they lose one stock. Because, but let me tell you a little secret that they didn't tell you in the direct. The character loses a stock, but they're actually just living another life in an Animal Crossing town
Ooh.
at that point. Yeah. So
Not
every
not
time
too bad.
Kapp'n drive, yeah, every time somebody takes a ride with Kapp'n, they're just using one of their lives on Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
A good
sign me up.
2,000. Yeah, yeah, I'm in. Um, of course, I want it to be a Switch town, but I guess City Folk will do.
Right.
It's a fun one. um, but yeah, I guess also like the main stage that you fight on in Smash Bros. There are now, I think, two Animal Crossing stages, but the first one was introduced in Brawl during the Wii era, and that was, of course, on a platform that hovered above the city in City Folk. That's kind of the iconic view from that era of Animal Crossing. And so that stage is still the stage that's like sticking around.
Yes.
Um, the next stage they added for the 3DS, but it was the island, right?
Yes, that one is amazing.
Yeah, it's a great one, especially seeing that long neck executor on the island. That was great. It was
Yeah.
the perfect fit. And it just made me want to see more Animal Crossing. But yeah, I guess how did you feel seeing Kapp'n show up in this game?
Oh, I thought it was awesome, and I really like the way they implemented, he's a Kappa, and that's what Kappas do, they kidnap and they take you away. So he's
You're
doing that, and they just make it work in the Smash Bros. I think it's awesome.
you're totally right. I'd completely forgotten about like just the folk tales that
Right.
Kapp'n is based off of. Yeah, that's great. I love that they're taking that into account that he's stealing people in the night and they're gone. They're dead.
Right.
um, yeah, I guess I don't know exactly the stories, but I do know like, there's some form of stealing somebody.
Right, right, right. And they just make it work in Smash so seamlessly.
Yeah, it's really the perfect fit. I love that. Um, the other little thing that we saw outside of Kapp'n was we got to hear a tiny, tiny little bit of Animal Crossing music when they were going over the music. I think it was just the main city folk theme. It sounded updated. It sounded like they've got some new instruments playing the theme,
Yes.
and it sounds great. From those 2 to 3 seconds that we heard, I was into it. I guess I was kind of sad that like we saw a list of Castlevania songs, a list of Zelda songs. I mean, those two were the only ones that we actually saw like confirmed songs for. Um, but I do really want to see the list of Animal Crossing songs that are being used. Right now, I think it's probably just, if I had to guess, it's the city folk theme, probably the city music, that
Hmm.
actually plays in the city, and then the island music.
Yes, and I think on the during E3 and all of the coverage that they had of Smash, we found out that there's sort of a New Leaf remix as well.
Oh, nice. I
Yes.
can't wait to hear that. um, so, yeah, it just makes me really excited to get the game and hear these songs in their arrangements because I love hearing, I guess, how people play Animal Crossing songs in different ways.
Oh yes.
I like to use the Mario Kart 8 Animal Crossing medley um, for my videos
Yes.
because it sounds so good. They give it the full like big band treatment and it's so good.
Oh
I
yes.
love hearing that. Yeah, it just I don't know. It fits so well. It's already just making me geek out about what they're gonna do with the new music. Because I don't know, the Switch, you're gonna get a lot better sound out of the Switch than you can get out of a 3DS, you know?
Yes. Mhm.
So just thinking about like what kind of instruments will go into making that next game, I'm excited. I'm
Oh
so
yes.
excited.
Yeah, and knowing Sakurai and the way they work on the Smash games, I bet you there's gonna be a remix in from Pocket Camp. And Pocket Camp has some good music. It's very Animal Crossing-y, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, they did a good job with the music in Pocket Camp. I mean, I obviously liked the little intro theme enough to record my own version of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I do want to start updating the music that I have on this podcast. I know my brother is currently working on Kapp'n's theme. Um, and he's playing it with a ukulele and an accordion, and he sent me like a
Oh, nice.
rough little version of it, and it sounded great. I was like, this is awesome. I need to re-record my stuff because you're making my stuff sound really bad. I already thought it sounded kind of bad,
No.
but this is only pushing me to want to re-record everything
Hmm.
again. um, yeah, I think I've got a better idea for how to do it. I'd love to do it on an acoustic guitar and just record it through that. But I don't have an acoustic right now. So,
Oh.
yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah, someday. But yeah, I just want to hear more of the music. I want to hear new music. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many different songs that you can choose from. I know this Smash is like, we've got 900 songs to show you, and I'm like, oh, cool, you're catching up to how much you can listen to in Animal Crossing.
Yes.
um, though I don't know, that's probably well above the amount of music in Animal Crossing at this point, right?
Right. Hmm.
I guess how many different songs do you think are in Animal Crossing, if you had to guess?
Oh man. So there's the 24 hourly. KK has about 91 nowadays.
Yeah, and like over the whole franchise, I would say,
Right. So,
because you know there's 24 different hours, and each of them has, well, there's the GameCube
right.
24-hour cycle. There is the Wild World and City Folk 24-hour cycle. They both use the same music, right? Then there's the New Leaf 24-hour cycle, and there how many KK songs now? Like 120.
Right, like 91, and then I guess we should count the air check versions.
Oh
They're
yeah, that's
different. Yeah.
true. Yeah, because there are little differences
Yes,
in those songs, like how they're played and everything. So
definitely.
I would say they count as different. Um,
The tricky ones would be the music box ones. I don't know if those would count.
yeah, cause you're talking like the ones that you make out of the shells, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, there's so many. I would think there's like a good 500 tracks in Animal Crossing.
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Oh, that's so much music.
Hmm.
And then that's not even taking into account like all the shops, all of the different you know when you first start New Leaf and the music that plays in the main street
Yes.
it changes over
Yes.
time.
Yeah, you never hear it again.
I want to. It's so nostalgic, especially cuz like that first day you spend so much time playing and then you don't know that you're not gonna hear the same things
Yes, yes, and
after a
it's so
while.
memorable.
It's great. Um,
And we didn't take into account Amiibo Festival. That probably has a couple of songs that are good.
yeah, that does have a song that I really like. What's hilarious about it is that it's like the results song
Yeah.
when you're done playing the game. It's both joyous because you're done
Yeah.
playing, and it's just a really good song. It's a good track. I linked it in the Discord before. Maybe I'll try to share it if anybody asks. Maybe I'll post it on Twitter. I'll just that might. So I've been having trouble coming up with 5 features that I want from Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival,
Mhm.
um, which I don't know. I guess I feel bad that the game isn't great because I want there to be like a really fun Animal Crossing party game.
Mhm.
But fact of the matter is, you scan an amiibo, it rolls a die, and then it moves for you, and that's about it.
Right.
Um, there's nothing to it. So it makes me sad that there's nothing to it because it would be so fun to have a Animal Crossing party game. I think it's a great idea. Revisit it again, Nintendo, but not till after you make a new core game.
Yes.
Um, anyway, so I'm having trouble finding things for Amiibo Festival to talk about in my video series. Um, but maybe one of them will be that
That
song,
song.
just so I can
Right.
show people that specific song is phenomenal. Um, the one problem is I don't know how I'm gonna record it. I guess I'll have to play a quick game and record it on
Oh.
my own because the video that I found it in is like the entire soundtrack to the game,
Mhm.
and so I'd have to like timestamp it. I don't know. I don't know how I'd be able to get it from that video. um, so I'll probably play through it, record it on my own. For a while, I was playing Amiibo Festival every month, and then I got busy with like that other series that I was making. The Is It
Yes.
Time for Animal Crossing Switch? The answer to that is still no, unfortunately. But maybe one day it will be.
Right, right. Hopefully soon.
Yeah. So, anyways, maybe I'll make a mental note of that. Maybe you'll remind me that that is one thing that I just have this song somewhere.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know. I guess I can talk about what I kind of thought about this direct. But before I do that, did you have anything else to say in terms of this Smash Direct or anything that stood out to you, anything that you liked or loved?
Yeah, they're making a lot of little changes that they sound little, but they're very significant, especially for people that have been playing the games in the series for a long time. And it's just things that make a lot of sense also for the competitive scene. So, they're listening and they're trying their best to really make this the ultimate game, and we still don't know everything. They purposefully left out a mode from the game. I'm hoping it's Smash Run or something for single player, especially because it looks like there's gonna be a lot of bosses. So,
Mm-hmm.
they're having something for everybody, and I cannot wait for December 7th. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I honestly think like the Ultimate Smash game would bring back a full-fledged story mode. Like that to me says ultimate.
Mm,
That's the game right there.
right.
So I'm hoping for that. And yeah, and it's crazy that like Sakurai just said there's still some more characters that we don't know about. So um, yeah, we'll have some more to look forward to. I know Isabel was not announced yet, and I think Isabel should be in the game because you know what? I think a lot of people are like, oh no, Animal Crossing has enough representation, and I'm like, we have one fighter in like
No.
2 stages.
Right.
That's not enough. Come on, Animal Crossing of all of these franchises outside of Pokemon, it has the most characters.
That's right.
um, it has so much to draw from. Yeah, there's just so much you can do with it, you know? Yeah, so I guess my thoughts on it, I think I was just more pumped about the game. I loved King K. Rool. I loved the Donkey Kong 64 like final smash thing, where he's blowing up the Kong Island.
Yes.
um, the other characters, I will tell you all, I have not played a Castlevania game ever, and I've only played the original Metroid, and not even too much of it. Like I never beat it or anything
Oh,
because it's super hard.
yes, yes.
Yeah, when I was playing it, I was like, "This is tough. I'm gonna die a million times, and start over from the beginning again," which is rough, you know. Um,
Right, right.
so I guess I wasn't too attached to the characters they announced from that, you
Hmm.
know. We got Simon and Richter and Dark Samus, and I was like, cool. That's cool.
What else?
Yeah, so I was into King K. Rool, and then like I said earlier, Crom, I was fine with not having that be the new Fire Emblem character. Um, I think, yeah, like you were saying, like we've had a lot of sword fighting Fire Emblem characters, and by a lot, I mean all of them.
Hmm.
We need. They're not taking into account that like one of the main features of Fire Emblem is that weapon triangle, like that rock paper scissors aspect to the strategy where
Yes.
swords beat lances. No, what is it? I'm gonna get this mixed up. Swords beat axes, axes beat lances, and lances beat swords. And so I'm like, yeah, let's
Yes.
get the lance characters, let's get the axe characters, um, not just have them all be swords.
Right, right.
Uh, yeah, but I guess I would wonder how that would work. Like if you picked a sword fighting character
Ooh.
over an axe fighting character, would you have an advantage at that point? Because then that would not be fair.
Right, right.
And unfortunately, like I was talking to a friend about this just yesterday, and I was saying like I kind of dropped off of Super Smash Bros. For when they introduced the DLC characters, specifically like Bayonetta,
Hmm.
who has single-handedly killed the scene at this
Yes.
point because she is too strong. Um, yeah, people use her, and she just she can't be beat.
Right.
And I think online games or fighting games like that, I really start to leave them when I just feel they're terribly unbalanced. Like I noticed I haven't been playing Mario Tennis too much, and it's because for too long, Bowser Jr. was just better than everybody,
Yes,
you know?
that's right.
And yeah, I guess I didn't like that aspect of the game where like you could essentially learn to play the best character and win most of the time. Um, that just doesn't. It's not fun to me to see the same thing over and over and over again, just because like that's what allows people to win, you
Yes.
know. And I don't know. I like to say that I play a lot of games. I've done a lot of winning. I've done a lot of losing. So both things don't mean as much to me anymore.
Hmm.
And I'm mostly into just playing and having fun and getting a variety from the game that I'm
That's right.
playing.
That's right.
Um, but when one character stands out like that and you just see them over and over and over again, I get bored. Um, so I'd love to see the balance of this game be a lot better. I
True.
know I've been very happy with Splatoon 2 because it's so much better balanced than the first game. Um, the first game had problems that could not be fixed with like balance patches. Like you literally had to take things out of that game to fix
Ooh.
it. And that's not the direction people like to go. They don't like to go with like you used to have something and then it's gone, you know.
No, right.
So I think the best thing they could have done was make a brand new game and get rid of all the things that were causing a problem. Um, and that's what they did with Splatoon 2 for the most part, you know.
Right.
It still has its issues because everything is gonna be it's gonna be a discovery process of what works best, and but I do like that a lot of it comes through coordination.
Right,
And
right.
what works best is actually playing as a team. And I'm like, yeah, that's the fun part. That's like, I just want to play with people and have fun.
Right.
um, so yeah, anyways, that's my thing on Smash, being that essentially like that point where I kind of got away from it. But now I guess I'm ready. I'm ready for the next Smash to come out, and I'm gonna play as Villager again because Villager's great.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna add Inkling to that because I love
Oh, that's right.
Splatoon.
That's right.
So yeah, I guess outside of that, I love Kapp'n is in it. Great. Um, I hope to see someday that the Animal Crossing models are upgraded to at least New Leaf, but at that point we're gonna have a Switch game, hopefully.
Right.
Um,
That's what I was thinking. It's very nice that we're getting this Smash game so early on in the system's life because there's gonna be more Zeldas, more Mario's. We're gonna get Animal Crossing, and Nintendo could use those times to add more content to Smash. So when Animal Crossing for the Switch comes out, we could get more stages, more characters, just more Animal Crossing content in Smash itself, and I think that's good.
yeah, and it's crazy because you know, one thing I like to look at is like the amount of time that has passed between a game, and at this point we're gonna be getting two Smash games before getting a new Animal Crossing game. Um,
Oh wow, that's right.
yeah, Animal Crossing New Leaf came out in 2013. Smash came out in 2014, Smash for Wii
Yes.
U, um, and 3DS, right?
Right.
And now we're getting another Smash game for the Nintendo Switch, and still no new Animal Crossing mainline game. I know we've gotten the spin offs, but any Animal Crossing fan will tell you it is not the same.
No. Right.
It's not giving you the same experience as a full game. So yeah, I'm just like, come on, give me some new Animal Crossing. We've had Smash now. Nintendo, you're running out of things to announce.
Yeah, Smash was the series that took a really long time in between installments, and it made sense. And now I guess now it's Animal Crossing, which is not good for us.
Yeah, it's a rough wait. So let's get more into Animal Crossing. We spent a lot of time on Smash, but recently, just this past Friday, I posted a video which was my 5 features that I wanted to see from Animal Crossing population growing on the GameCube make a return to the next Animal Crossing game. And I guess I'll start with a quick recap of the video. So I essentially picked 5 features that I really loved from the game. Those features were the end of the month raffle, asking for chores. Should I explain them a little bit? Maybe I will. End of the month raffle. During the month, you would get raffle tickets from Nook anytime you purchased an item. I think there is some. I think you had to spend like at least 100 bells or
Oh,
500. Um, but anyways, he would give you a raffle ticket, and at the end you could use groups of 5 raffle tickets to spin a magic wheel and get a prize. From there, I said asking for chores. When you would talk to villagers, you had the opportunity to ask if they needed any help with anything, and
right.
then if they did, they'd send you on some sort of mission. The next thing was selecting and dropping multiple items. This was just a quality of life type of thing where
Right.
you could click the Y button, I believe, and you would select items, and then you could drop them all at once or pick them up all at once. And then after that, I said scavenger hunts, and that just involved like finding a cool item. Somebody on the bulletin board would say, "Oh, I hid an item in the 5 acres, and if you find it, it's yours. If you don't, by the end of the day, it's gonna be gone." So that gave you something cool to do. And then the last thing was journals, where you could buy a journal at the store, and you can make an entry for each month.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess from there, what did you think of my 5 choices?
Oh, I love them. I agree. These are all really awesome. My favorite of those is the end of the month raffle. I That is so awesome. I wanted to come back so much because it does so much. It keeps you buying things, it keeps you playing every day with a reward at the end of the month. And it could be, something really cool and it's randomized too. So it's the biggest missing feature from population growing, I would say. I cannot wait for something like it to come back.
Yeah, and then I also in the video I was kind of seeing the items that were there that were special, and one of them was like the classic hutch or something like that, and I was like, I don't think that's part of the furniture set anymore,
Oh,
and I'm not sure if you could find it any other way outside of like the monthly raffles, but yeah, that piece of furniture I don't think has made a return, and I thought it was great. It looked awesome.
yeah. And we play so many months that there's a lot of items for us to get.
Yeah, at least 12, I would say. um, but yeah, it would be so cool to see that. So I guess if it were up to you, what five things would you pick?
Okay, I would have definitely, out of those five that you picked, I would have also picked the raffle, the journals, and asking for chores. I think those three are really unique and really keep you playing and offer you a reward. And it's very Animal Crossing. Like I don't really understand why they haven't come back, but maybe they replaced them with something else, or they thought they wanted to try something else. But definitely those three. And also, I would have picked something with the acre system. It's very
Mm.
different from sort of the spinning world layout that we have now, but I really like the acre system. I thought it worked really well. I'm hoping there's a way for either you can either choose if you want to have the acres or the spinning world, or there's an area in your town that has to be specifically in the acre system. So I just want to see it come back in a way. I think that would be nice.
Yeah, and I think that was a difficult one for me to decide on. Just because I don't know. It's convenient to be able to see a lot of things at once, but there's such a great sense of discovery when you have the acre system. Like, you don't know what you're going to run into in that next panel
Right.
until it slides over, and then you're like, oh, there's something crazy going on in here. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
like, just walking around the town, you don't know when you're going to run into like Crazy Red's shop if he's there, or somebody's got a tent up in your place because they're just camping and visiting. And yeah, I guess things are surprises when they happen, and
Yeah.
you just like walk around in your town. It makes it feel like, oh, I couldn't see that from, I don't know, I'm walking from my beach, and you get a good vantage point
Yes.
of all the things ahead of you. And yeah, so I like that aspect of it a lot. um,
Right. Right.
yeah. And then did you was that four from you, or did you have another?
That's four. I'm not sure what the fifth one would be. I do have some honorable mentions, but I don't think those are big enough to pick them for the top five.
Yeah, so I guess what are your honorable mentions?
So one that I really like is the aerobics. You know what? Yeah, this would be my fifth actually. The more I think about it, because it's really cool. You had to wake up at 6 a.m. I think it's during August or maybe August and September. It's around this time.
Yeah, I think it's all
And
summer.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you would have to wake up early and you would do aerobics in at the town fountain back in population growing. And I think that's really cool how you see everybody, awake so early, even if their personalities didn't have that really, they would make an effort. And it's so nice to like be encouraged to, work out and see everyone so early in town. In I love events that involve all the townspeople and all the villagers. So something like this, I really hope something like it comes back eventually.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. It's so fun to see like a bunch of characters out and celebrating that same thing. Especially because the one thing I find pretty strange about New Leaf, and this is something I guess you notice after a while, but at any point in time, in your like main town area, like where you live and everything, there are only 5 villagers outside.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's weird. And sometimes more villagers will be out, but they'll be like up on Main Street and doing some shopping or whatever.
Right, right,
Some of them will be inside of their home, but I guess the one thing that is kind of the downfall of having those two separate areas is that not everybody is hanging out in the same place. Whereas, like in Animal Crossing for the GameCube, you have like there's nowhere for these people to go.
right, right.
Like they have to be in that area. Maybe they're in the museum or something, but for the most part they are running around your town and just doing whatever they want to do. They could be over at somebody's place just hanging out by their house. But yeah, everybody is essentially out and about, you
Yes.
know and yeah, I feel like that it makes those events really fun because like a lot of characters are going to be there all at once instead of
Right,
just 5.
right, right.
And you got so many more characters in that first one. You got 15, um, which is awesome.
Yeah, I really hope the Switch version has at least that many. I think that's
Yeah,
a good number. Any more than that may be a little too much, but
yeah, it
15
might
would
be
be
crowded.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Did you have anything else to say about the aerobics?
No, I really want something like that to come back, and hopefully they could make it every other month or every 3 months so that it's not just during one season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And then I guess, did you have any other honorable mentions?
Yes, you may remember once in a while you're gonna find like a ball, like either a soccer ball or just like a beach ball, just lying around town, and you're able to kick it around and just play with it. I like that. I mean, it's very simple. It doesn't really add much to the game, but it adds like a little bit of childlike joy to Animal Crossing. I want something like that to come back.
Yeah, and one thing that can happen too is like a villager will ask you to bring them a ball. And then
Ooh.
they get it and they start running around with it. The hardest thing though is when they ask for a ball and the only ball you can find in town is like across a river, down the cliff. Because then you're like, oh man, how do I kick this thing so it doesn't fall into the river? Or how do I get it up this cliff? It's
Right.
just like you're stuck. And it's the hardest mission that they could possibly give you. And then you get the idea that they just don't want to talk to you anymore. So they sent you away on an impossible mission. Um, but yeah, I always thought that was really fun. Um, I
Nice.
guess as for me, if if I were to change one thing on my list, I might change the selecting multiple items and dropping them.
Mhm.
I kept it just because I think it's going to be crucial when we're going back to a home console Animal Crossing. Um, I imagine I'll play on my TV a lot of the time. I'll
Mhm.
play it in portable mode plenty as well. But while I'm on TV, like you don't have access to a touch screen. I'm probably going to be playing with the Pro controller, so it's not like it's going to
Mhm.
feel as natural pointing at the TV to, select items or anything. Um, so I feel like there just needs to be a button that's assigned that allows you to select things and have an easier time playing on the home console version.
Yes, definitely.
Um, so I kept it for that reason, but if I switched it, I would for sure just switch it to having 15 villagers.
Right.
um, because yeah, like you said, that's a great number. I think it's not too crowded. It makes you feel like your town is, somewhere where a bunch of people live. Population 15.
Yes.
um, or population 16 if you count yourself.
Right.
And your 3 other friends who move in as well.
Right, right.
Yeah. Other honorable mentions for me would be the more extreme personalities. Um, what I mean by this is like when you had a cranky villager in the original game, they were legitimately cranky.
Yes.
And so I like that. I like when they feel more alive, more like they are somebody that you have to deal with
Right, right.
in some way. And Yeah, so I like that. The other thing, buildings and greenery were able to be built like pretty close to each other.
Hmm.
There are a lot of restrictions in the newer Animal Crossings about where things will grow or where you can build things. Just walking around the GameCube town that I've been walking around, there's a villager that has their house right next to the river. Like you cannot walk in between the river and their house. Like you have to go around their house. And I'm like, you just can't do that anymore, you
Right.
know? And so I like that kind of the spacing is different in the game where you can build things or plant things where they normally wouldn't grow.
Right. Right.
So I like that. And then the last thing, I also said the balls because they were fun to play around. It was mostly really cute when you would see a villager playing with the ball.
Yes.
Um,
Right. Right.
yeah, because they run around and they're like doing so well with it, and you're like, I can't move like that. Why are you so good with this thing? Yeah, I'd always be tempted to instead just push the villager down the cliff to get them to the ball. I would just like be shoving them. They were a lot easier to move back then.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, now when you try to push them, they're just like they put up a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they still get mad at you though, which is
Right.
nice. Um, I was so sad when I found out they got like really mad at you if you push them around, and I was like, that makes sense. Um, I guess I'd be mad if somebody was just like shoving me all
Right.
over the place too, and without saying anything about
Right.
why
Right.
either. They're just like doing it. That's pretty messed up, man. um, yeah. So I don't know. I guess pretty short episode this time around. I don't know. There hasn't been too much news, and I think that's unfortunate. I think, um, I don't know. I guess people are playing Pocket Camp still.
Right.
I don't know how many. I have been retweeting some funny things where people are like, that feeling when all you have is Pocket Camp
Right.
and there is no Switch game, and then it's a villager that's crying. um, so yeah, I guess with that said, do you think that we're gonna see like a Nintendo Direct pretty soon after this last one?
Yes, I expect one in September. It's been many years in a row where we've had a fairly good direct in September, and it's usually for a lot of games. It's not series specific, and it's time. It's almost September, and we need news on a lot of games, and not just Yoshi. We know we're getting news about Yoshi, but we definitely need news about everything else, and that includes Animal Crossing because we don't know what's next year. We know Metroid
Mm-hmm.
Prime 4, we know Pokemon, but we need to know more about Nintendo's bigger franchises, and Animal Crossing is one of them that is not out already. So, why wait? Why delay it even further? Because you already know your fan base is not exactly pleased that they had to wait through E3 and we didn't get any news. So might as well, if you have something, just show it. Just let us know.
Yeah, I would say I'm typically not a supporter of that kind of logic in the sense of like, oh, they've had directs for the past few years on in September, so they must keep that going.
Hmm.
As I'm like, oh, those things can change. But I will say that there are some things coming up that I think need to be addressed this month, this
Yes.
September.
Hmm.
And those specifically, like, we haven't heard anything else about the Nintendo Online service.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think Nintendo can just like all of a sudden charge people for online because right now, it's free. It's something that we can just do, something we can just play. I think Nintendo has to, come out and say something specific about it. Like we don't know what other games we're going to be able to play online.
Hmm.
As far as like what's going to be available from their like virtual catalog. Whatever they're yeah, there's just like
Right.
a lot we don't know about it and it's coming up, so I feel like a direct is a good way to kind of present that.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
at least make people aware because you know for the most part there are a lot of kids out there playing a Switch, and these kids have to explain to their parents that they can't play Mario Kart with their cousins online anymore because they don't have the Nintendo Switch Online service.
Right.
And they're going to be like, well, what's that? And the kid's like, oh, I don't know. But if there was like a direct there that they could direct them to,
Mm.
then that would give them the information, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I feel like they have to talk about that. They have to talk about, October means we're getting Super Mario Party. Um, I'm sure they have more to show us for that game. We got some of that shown a couple months ago at E3,
Hmm.
but now it's been a couple months, and in September, like the next month is October, and that's when the game's going to come out. So yeah, tell us a bit about it. And I don't want people to forget that Nintendo did say that there are more games on the way. And I'm like, how could there possibly be more games on the way if all you're talking about is Smash?
Right.
So part of me doesn't believe them, but you know, they haven't had like a general direct in a while. I'd say the last general direct was even before E3. It was that March one because
Right.
E3 was
Right.
just another Smash direct
Right.
with friends.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I'd say there needs to be something before the launch of the online service just because that's going to be a big thing.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
huge change for Nintendo. Up until this point, they never charged for online, and now all of a sudden they are. So I think that's something they can't go without addressing.
Right. Right.
Yes.
And we know the three big games that we're getting, or at least for the Switch: Super Mario Party in October, Pokemon in November, and Smash in December. And the way I picture this is, well, we know there is more Smash talk coming up. I expect that in November, a month before the game comes out. And I do expect Nintendo or the Pokemon Company to talk more about Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee sometime in October, like a month before the
Mm-hmm.
games come out. So, what are you gonna talk about in September? Not to dismiss Mario Party, but I think we know enough about it. They could still mention it in an overall direct, and that's why I think September would be ideal for that. You would cover the online service, and I think that's the most important thing they should talk about. So that would probably be first, and then talk about Mario Party, which is coming out the month after, and then talk about a couple of 2019 titles or a couple little surprises.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be super. I'm sure they have stuff. I think a lot of us are just waiting to hear what else there is.
Right.
Um, yeah, I want to hear what else there is. I want to know if they really do have other games in the works for this year because I'm looking at the calendar right now and I'm just seeing there's September, there's October, November, December. That's 4 months. That's a third of the year, and it hasn't been too impressive these past 8 months.
Right. Even in the sales department.
Yeah, and yeah, it's reflected in Nintendo Switch sales. Like
Yes.
they sold not even 2 million Switches
Right.
in the
Right.
first quarter of this fiscal year for themselves. Um, they said they were going to reach 20 million, and I'm sure they probably still will, considering like Pokemon and Smash are going to be huge for them this holiday.
Right.
But I don't know, just seeing how the rest of their year is looking, I hope they're noticing that people are not too pumped right now.
Yes. Hmm.
They're essentially waiting for whatever's at the end of the year, and that's November and December. I'm gonna predict that that's where the bulk of Switch sales are gonna fall for Nintendo, and
Yes.
part of it is, of course, it will because that's the holiday season. But the other part of it is there just hasn't been much else to be excited for the whole rest of the year.
Right. Right.
Yeah, a lot of smaller things. Um, But yeah, I guess anyways, thank you all so much for listening. If you want to be part of the conversation on all things Animal Crossing, join the Discord. I have a link in the description of this podcast. It's totally free to join. You don't have to be a patron, and if you do join, you can get Sergio and my friend codes, and we have added our 3DS friend codes too. So people can play New Leaf with us whenever we play that. If you do want to become a patron, visit patreon.com/ChewiePlaysNintendo. For just $1, you can support our show, get tons of cool things, get early access to my kind of diary series, I guess you can call it. Sergio, I know you are working on some cool things like doing KK covers of songs.
Right.
That'll be something that people who are patrons will have access to. So I know you and I were talking about it, and I think it's a great idea. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, we're trying to make it worth it for you because we appreciate your support, and it really helps us, just build this place up and bring out more content. And if you are watching and listening on YouTube, please leave a comment about your thoughts on the most recent Smash Bros. Direct. I know a lot of things were happening. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what you thought about population growing and, features that you want to see return from that game. And please leave a review for the show wherever you're listening. It helps the show gain some visibility and allows our community to grow. I did move the podcast to Anchor recently, so if you see it on Anchor or anything, there must be some way to leave a review there, so that'd be good. And once again, thank you all so much for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.